Hello, guys. We're here with Amanda
Paffrath.
Okay.
Tongue twister.
Oh, yeah.
Should practice that.
Yeah, I probably should have. All right. And then we're so happy to have you here,
Thank you.
of course. And then could you just, go on a little about, like what you do here, like, because you were working District 4, correct? And
Correct.
stuff like that. So if you can go on a little bit about that.
Sure. So I'm a newly elected Alder to District 4 in Racine, which runs basically from the zoo to Hamilton Street west to Douglas Avenue. It juts in and out a little bit, but I've been a resident of the area for 20 years, and it's my first time in public office. So I've joined the team in April of this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And what did you do a little bit before that?
Well, I have a degree in sociology and social work from UW-Madison, and I worked in social work for about 10 years after graduating college, and then I decided to, on a whim, to sort of follow my dreams and open an art-related business. So in 1997, I opened Funky Hannah's Beads and Art downtown in Racine, renovated an old building, and took a chance on a dream selling beads. My mom thought I was crazy, but 25 years later, we were going strong. 17 years ago, partnered with a couple other artists and opened a business called Hot Shop Glass, which is also in downtown Racine. So now I spend my time running two arty businesses. Funky Hannah's isn't open very much, but Hot Shop Glass is going gangbusters, and now also joined the city council. So I'm very busy.
Yeah, busy person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you get into what you do now with the city and, like your art business and stuff like that?
Well, the art business was always a passion of mine. I did art ever since I was like 5. I took my first class at Worcester Art Museum, which you may have taken, and art classes there, and always loved my art class in school. But I didn't think I could ever make a career doing art. So I took sort of the practical route and got a degree in social work and did that for a while. But decided that that wasn't where my passion was. And I wanted to take a chance. And I thought I could always go back to social work if the art thing didn't work. So doing that really got me involved in the community. And when we've always been strong supporters of things happening around our city and believers in the positivity and the opportunity that Racine has. And so when the opportunity came up to run for 4th District Alder, my husband and I kind of went back and forth. You do it. No, you do it. Because it's kind of scary to run for public office. But we decided that one of us had to, and I won or lost the draw, whichever way you want to look at it.
And then what do the districts mean? Like,
so as I understand it, and this, I really wish I would have paid more attention in my high school civics class. So if you guys have like government classes now, pay attention. The election recently, we're like looking online, like what's the difference between the House and Congress and the Senate? And anyway, so my understanding is the districts are divided equally in the city of Racine based on population and area. So there's about 5,000 people that are in each aldermanic district. And so as Alder, my job is to represent that particular district and the people that live there.
oh, okay. Interesting. So I guess we'll talk a little bit more about business stuff. I'm also, I guess you'd say, business owner as well.
Okay.
I'm a photographer. I started my freshman year, so I've been doing it about 4 years
Good
now.
for you.
Yeah. So what can people do if they're interested in becoming an entrepreneur? Like, do you have any insight on that? Or like,
I think the first thing is you have to really flesh out your idea. You have to think about what are you going to do that's different or unique or kind of solving a problem or meeting an unmet need. And once you kind of come up with that idea, make sure it's something that you're really passionate about, that you see yourself doing that a lot, because it's more than a regular full-time job, especially at first getting a business off the ground. And then I'm a firm believer in making things work on paper, like the numbers. What's it going to cost you? How much do you think you're going to make? How long till you think that the numbers are going to work? And can you hang on long enough to start turning a profit? Because you don't typically make money right out of the gate. If you're a photographer, you have equipment expenses and travel and things like that.
It took me probably like 2 years before I started making profit on my stuff. So especially, and I was just starting, because also a lot of people come to me and talk about like, oh, I want to start it. I also like taking pictures and stuff like that. It's like, it's really just picking up a camera, start using it, getting used to it and stuff like that. And then if you start getting like really good and stuff like that, and then getting that business aspect out of it, there's a lot of research and figuring out where to go. Like, where did you go, like, kind of on how to figure out how to start one?
Well, I did a couple different things. I had run a nonprofit business, so I already had some experience with budgets and things like that. But I took a bunch of classes in Milwaukee through an organization called SCORE, which is the Service Corps of Retired Executives. And so basically, it was people that had been in business, be it banking or insurance or marketing or whatever, and they gave free programs. And so I went to lectures, basically. I also went to the Small Business Development Center. They offered a free service to evaluate your business plan. I went and wrote a business plan, which I think is really important to do if you're going to start a business, so that you really have your ideas flushed out and that you can, put them together on paper, both in terms of the narrative and the budget, and be able to share it with other people and make sure it makes sense to other people, and that you can explain it. And so the SBDC offers, at least they did at the time, free business consulting. So I could bring my business plan to them, and they would look at it before I brought it to a bank. I needed to get business loans for both of the businesses that I started. So I had to make sure that it made sense from a business banker point of view, which I'm an artist, so my financials, I always said, these are artist-prepared financials.
Yep. So always it's like, oh, I don't know if you can get to that point, and then it's like, oh, I'm well over that point.
Yep. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I'm sure. Sometimes it could be with that as well. Or what kind of like I've seen like YouTube videos with hot shop glass and stuff like that. I might have seen a couple of like some of your work, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like, how does somebody get like involved with that? Like the interest in that? Is it just like?
Well, I think the interest is exposure. Now that we have the internet, you can see and get all sorts of videos and TikToks and YouTubes and be intrigued by the material, which is so interesting to watch because it's a 2,000 degree liquid that turns into a solid very quickly. And when you watch somebody very skilled, it's very mesmerizing.
Yeah,
So
like
it's
part of those satisfying.
Exactly, it's very satisfying.
Yeah.
So I think that that just exposure is the first thing, and then it's how do you learn? Some people learn it in a university setting. Some people learn as an apprentice. That's the way in the old days everybody learned in Europe. In Italy, I was lucky enough to go to a conference there 2018. And so you saw, 15, 16, 17-year-old, primarily young men, working as apprentices and learning the trade from their fathers and grandfathers. We bring in apprentices in our studio to help us and to learn, and then that gives them access to the material and to the process, and eventually they become skilled artists themselves.
Yeah, that's cool. Is that also how you got it, just with an entrepreneurship?
No, actually, I learned at the university. I learned in a school, so it was really not the apprentice route. So I did a little bit of that, and I would watch anywhere I could. When I would take classes, I would just sit and watch. Even if it wasn't my bench time, I just observed.
Yep.
The more time you can spend watching anything you're interested in, you can learn a lot from just observing. So.
Yeah, even like if you're starting a new job too, just like watching somebody else do
Yeah.
it can give you an understanding on like how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I've been doing on the city council. I'm not sure how all this works, so I'm just going to sit and watch for a while and ask questions and kind of flush it out.
I know I'm going off of the questions, but hang on. So personally, I am in the business pathway here at Case, and to get more specific, I'm in the marketing. But do you have any advice for the business kids here and in all Racine high schools that have the pathways?
Well, I think, like I said earlier, really flesh out your idea, talk to a lot of people about it. The more people you can talk to about your idea, the more you'll flush it out and be able to, give that elevator speech that they always say you should have for your idea. And I think really make the numbers work on paper, because you can have a really, really great idea, but if you can't make it work financially, it's not going to happen. So I really think both of those things, having the passion, the narrative and the idea, and then flushing out the numbers to make sure that that you can make it work, So, and don't give up. I remember the first banker I went to basically kind of laughed at me and was like, this will never work, and blah, 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 blah. And I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed. But I was like, you know what? I'm not giving up. And so I found another banker, and she was willing to work with me, but she asked me a lot of hard questions and made me go back and reevaluate my financial projections several times. And she said, you know what? have your projections be lower. If you hit the number and are above it, you're going to be much more confident and feel great than if you don't hit the mark. You know, if you shoot too high and you don't make it, you're going to be like, oh. But if you aim a little lower, but make it even better, you're going to feel super confident about it. And that was really great advice. And I realized at one point that partly what she was doing to me was making sure that I didn't give up the first time something got hard and something didn't go the way I thought it would. It really made me step back and go, okay, how am I going to redefine this? How am I going to respond to this problem that appeared? Because business is full of them. Every day you don't know what you're going to face. So if you give up the first time you hit an obstacle or a roadblock, it's not probably for you. So going back to it and not giving up. That would be my advice, long-winded advice.
And then also, how do you think like politics are involved within the business? Because I've never really gotten into it. And I never thought it would be, but sometimes I see some politics get involved with the business.
Yeah, you know,
aspect.
I am in such a small business. There's four, basically 3.5, 4 full-time people that we work with. So it's really small. I think that you see that more in bigger businesses where people are trying to, kind of buddy up to different people to get, different perks or get, brought into different departments or whatever. But, I don't see that in my business. I guess I see a little bit of the politics sort of, my business is in the downtown area, so you see the politics sort of within that community, people think that certain things should happen a certain way, and, they try and get other people to join them in those ideas, just like anywhere. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that does.
sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, I see, especially with politics more in like the more higher up areas, like you'd see politics more in the like Walmarts and like higher up industries like that.
Sure.
But yeah.
Why should people get active in local politics?
Well, I think it's important, that's why we have a democracy is for everybody to have a voice. So I think it's really important for people to vote. I was going through the files, organizing my aldermanic candidacy stuff, and when I won the seat in the 4th district, there were only like 225 people that voted out of 4,000 or 5,000. Now, it was a April election. There wasn't much on the ballot. I think a lot more people voted now, but I think that that's the first place we have to start is people need to vote. And then I think it's important to become involved in local politics, whether as a volunteer, on the school board, in different places, because I think it's important for people who are concerned about the community and as a whole, not just like an agenda. Like, I didn't come into this with an agenda. My agenda was I care about Racine, and I think I have a good head on my shoulders and a background that is diverse enough to bring different thoughts and ideas to the process. And I think that's really the key, is having a diverse group of people who all have a common goal to come to the table and try and come up with solutions. And I think politics in this country have become very, very divisive and very kind of polarized. And I think somehow we have to move away from that and come back to how can we all work together for a common goal, which is, I think, helping make people's lives better and safer and making the community a better place to live. So.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess that wraps up the time with
All
you.
right.
Do you have anything else to plug or?
No.
No.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Go Eagles. I don't
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys. Yep.
See you guys.